Today we're making spiced apple scones. It is the perfect scone texture that's like a little bit dense, but still tender and soft and never dry. And then it uses dried apples instead of fresh, although you could absolutely use fresh. But this way it kind of keeps that perfect scone texture, and you get that chew from the apple, a little bit of spice, and then a little cinnamon sugar that we sprinkled on top. Let's get into it. So, scones, super easy. Mixing method is gonna be the same as all of my other scones. So let's just jump into cutting in the butter because that's gonna take a minute. I've got AP flour here, and then I've got granulated sugar, kosher salt, baking powder, and then this is apple pie spice. You can get that recipe up there. The base is cinnamon. It's just a little bit different mix of spices that I find to be really, truly delightful with apples. And then we're just gonna give that a mix, even though you don't have to because it's not that serious. It's all gonna mix in the mixer anyways. And then I've got butter. This is cold and cubed. And then we're gonna pop this in our stand mixer, boop, and let her go. It's gonna take probably about 10 minutes. We're gonna cut in that butter completely. You can of course do this by hand with a pastry blender, but we wanna cut the butter in completely until there is no visible butter bits. And then all those flour strands are just perfectly coated, and that's how you get that really beautiful tender scone. Next, so we can either whisk, but I'm going to immersion blend all of our wet ingredients. I like to combine all of my wet ingredients before adding them, and that also keeps them nice and tender without over mixing. So then I've got my heavy cream here. I've got eggs, and then vanilla. All right. Done. So our butter is completely cut in, and I kind of just ran my hands in there and kind of felt. That's the best way to test to see if all of the butter is cut in, because eventually it'll start to kind of clump, and it can look like butter pieces, but it's not butter pieces. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and turn that on low, and we're gonna slowly, add our wet ingredients, and then that is going to mix in as we're pouring. Okay. And then before it is completely combined, I'm gonna add my dried apples. So you could use fresh apples, of course, but those are gonna leach moisture in the oven. You could pre-cook them if you'd like, with a little bit of cinnamon and sugar. All options, but I like that texture of the dried apples, so just go ahead and mix all of that in. Voila. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just get all of this off of here. I'm gonna see if I can't just finish it by hand in the bowl without turning it out and dirtying my counter, but if it's not possible, then I guess I'll just turn out my counter. I just don't wanna clean anything else. Okay, I'm gonna get myself a piece of plastic wrap. So let's go ahead and just get this out. Maybe a little bit of dry that's just chilling on the bottom. Now we're just gonna kind of take that and we're just gonna gently kind of fold it into the batter. Should I? Fine. Fine, I'll get my countertop dirty. I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to. I did not. So go ahead and just kind of gently kind of knead that together. You don't want any dry bits. There's plenty of moisture to go around. It doesn't need any more moisture. You need to kind of distribute those pieces, if you will. So go ahead and get all of that off. Bring it back over, and then we are going to place it on the top. Yes. All right, and then we're going to take that and we're going to press that down. I keep it in a circle because I'm going to make I'm gonna cut these into little triangles, but go ahead and kind of get it to the size and shape that you want it and make your life easier later, and why not, I say. So, gorge. It's about 1/2 inch thick. It's actually a little fatter than a half, but these are gonna be monster scones. So go ahead and kind of wrap that up. And then we're gonna pop this in the fridge to chill for at least an hour. It really needs to kind of relax, and the butter needs to kind of, you know, firm up a bit, but mostly the gluten needs to relax. So I'm gonna put this on a baking sheet and I'm gonna pop it in my fridge, and I'm gonna let it chill for about 2 hours. And then we're gonna bake them. All right, our scones have chilled, our dough has chilled for several hours, and it is very ready to bake. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap it. I'm not going to take it off the plastic because I don't really feel like there's a need. Go ahead and line my baking sheet with parchment. And then I'm gonna get myself, get my bench scraper, and we're just gonna make, you know, you could roll this out and cut them into circles, whatever shape you want, but I'm just gonna do a nice, we're gonna do, I guess we're doing 16. Okay. Some of the apples are proving to be a challenge to cut with the bench scraper, so maybe a knife would have been a better choice, but we are in it now. Okay, here we are. We've got our baking sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of start one side, and then we'll alternate. Hey! All right, that's enough of that, sir. I could have been smarter, but we are in it now. Yes, we are. Now, we're just gonna brush these with heavy cream. You could sprinkle them with turbinado sugar, or you could leave them unadorned, whatever you wanna do. You could also just kind of brush them and then kind of make a nice glaze. Maybe the maple glaze would be nice. Now, you don't want too much. You don't want it dripping down the sides or anything like that. You don't want excess. You just want a bit on the top, enough to basically stick the cinnamon sugar that we're going to sprinkle on top. So just give that a little stir, and then I'm not stressed about the fact that it's going all over my baking sheet. Just not. Here we are. Now, I've preheated my oven to 325 degrees convection. If you don't have convection, just do 325. I'm going to pop these in. They're probably going to bake close to 17, maybe a little longer. They're pretty thick. So we are just going to wait until the tops and the centers kind of provide a little resistance when they're touched and they no longer feel like dough. So here we are. And they're out. So they baked about 18 minutes. These baked a little less time because these were in the center rack and I had to kind of rotate these between the top and the bottom. So, you know, they bake a little unevenly and a little more on the bottom. Just how life goes, huh? All right, so now we just need to let these cool, and then it'll be time to try. All right, it's time to try. And I'm super stoked because, you know, scones are one of my favorite things of all time. And I'm pretty excited about these. So, which one to choose? This one. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness. The inside is this perfectly kind of like the perfect scone-y texture, if you will. You can tell that it's going to be soft and tender, not dry at all, but also not cakey. So excited. Oh my gosh, what a delight. It is that perfect scone texture, that soft, kind of tender, but not cakey, like perfectly dense scone texture. Kind of like melts in your mouth, but like all those spices just kind of coat your palate, plus that little cinnamon sugar from the top, and then you get like that kind of chewy, soft apple bits that are studded throughout. Some of the ones on the sides and the bottoms have kind of caramelized, which just adds to that beautiful flavor. I mean, this is a perfect scone for breakfast or afternoon tea or a snack, or just like right now, whatever time right now is for you.